Hey everybody, here we're looking at a UPS on the right and a standard power supply on the left. And I'm going to talk about something that I've noticed a few times in the past that I do not like at all. As a matter of fact, I kind of frown upon it. Have a look at this cord. Look at the plug. Let's get a closer look. Yeah. You see something missing there? That is the ground prong. Well, lack of. It's missing off of this cord. And that's not a good thing. You know, it's something I've seen happen quite a few times with things. Especially in older houses, or if you're running something off of an extension cord that doesn't have that third prong. You're thinking, oh, I'll just cut that third prong off of the cord and just go about my merry way. Well, if it's something like maybe a circular saw or an air compressor, well, that might be okay. You might be able to get by. It's not a safe practice at all, but you'll still get by and still be able to use said device. I've seen this with this here. I've seen this happen a couple of times with breaker bars that had surge protection built in. Third prong's cut off. And as a matter of fact, our refrigerator, the third prong was cut off because it was in an older house. You know, in case when you're in an older house, cutting that third prong off, yeah, it'll still allow the plug to plug into the wall, but it's not a safe practice. Generally, and it's unfortunate to say because I know it's kind of an expensive thing, but if you're living in an older house that still has two prong outlets, you need to have the house rewired to have three prongs with ground, properly grounded. Now, obviously, in any scenario, it's very important that you have the third prong in use. Don't cut it off. It's not there just to be cut off. It's there to be used. It's there for a reason. And today I'm going to focus on electronics. Why is that third prong there? Well, obviously, let's first talk about this uninterruptible power supply, or UPS. The reason why, one of the big reasons why these units have that third prong is one reason that kind of like they have outlets built in, so the ground has to be passed somewhere. But there's a bigger reason why these things have that third prong. UPSs are known to have decent surge protection, but when you have no ground, that surge protection is useless. Because in surge protection, generally you have metal oxide varistors, or MOVs. They look kind of like capacitors, and one side connects to your power and the other side connects to ground. Basically, that kind of like variable resistors. Let me see if I can find one for you to show you. Here's two MOVs right here. Now, they come in different sizes depending on what they're rated for in regards to the amount of joules of energy they can pass. These are actually out of computer power supplies, and most computer power supplies have them, some don't. Typically, the cheaper end units don't have them. But basically, what these little guys do is one side connects to your power source, be it 120 volts AC or whatever, and the other side goes to ground. Typically, you'll have two of these like in a regular power supply. And what these do is, in the event of a power surge or power spike, these little guys, let's say if your power goes over like 120 volts, or no, excuse me, say 125 volts RMS, what happens is these little guys, when the power goes over the rating that they're rated for, they will actually take that extra power and take it straight to ground. Yes, these little guys basically short out when they go over 125 volts or whatever they're rated for. They don't permanently short out. Let's say if it's a quick spike, provided these little guys haven't burned out, they'll still be there. They go up in circuit when the power is below a certain level. But as you can see, they're both heat shrinked, and for obvious reasons. That's because, let's say if you have a long surge that takes these things out. That way, if these were to explode or whatever, they wouldn't scatter debris all over your electronic device. I mean, these things, when you have a huge surge and it overcomes these things, it can be very messy. But these little guys, they sacrifice themselves to save your component, such as your computer or anything that's connected to your UPS. And as I mentioned, they connect from your power source to ground. But let's say Joe has the third prong cut off of his UPS cord, and let's say a power surge happens. You practically have no MOVs there because there's no there's no ground for them to send power to. So your components just get fried. That's not the only reason that it's important to have the third prong. Let's say in a regular computer power supply, you have an EMI filtering stage. Most power supplies have them unless you're talking about really cheap ones. This one does have an EMI filtering stage. And it consists of a few varieties of different capacitors. But one thing you'll notice, if you look carefully inside there, is there are two blue capacitors, dip capacitors, that connect your power source to ground. Basically, you have one for live and one for neutral. These act as part of the EMI filtering stage. Now, if your computer is not grounded, or better yet, let's say your cord is missing the third prong, or your ground is bad, those little guys, they don't work so well. A matter of fact, if you don't have your power supply grounded, and it does have this full EMI filtering stage, and you go to touch the back of your computer case, you'll get a jolt. Trust me, it's happened to me before. It doesn't feel great. It's not a full. It's not like touching an out. It's not like sticking your finger in an outlet. It's more of, well, it's kind of hard to say, but it doesn't feel too good. So basically, your computer's case is floating that energy around when it's trying to go to ground, and there's no ground. That's another reason why it's very important to have that third prong there. Again, they didn't put it there to so you can cut it off and go about your merry way. It's there for a reason. Okay, reason number 3. It's still with your computer. Components inside the computer are designed to use the case as a ground. Basically, if you look inside this power supply, try to figure out where it's at, there's a wire that connects to your third prong on this connector, and it goes straight to the case. You can see it screwed in right down there. Get a better focus. You can see that the wire is screwed directly to the case. That grounds out the power supply and grounds your case. But when you don't have that third prong on your cord, your computer is no longer grounded, and that can cause issues. Again, if in the case of a surge, that extra energy, it has nowhere to go. And in many cases, parts of your computer do rely on the ground. So it's very important that in any case, not with just computers and electronics, but anytime you have that third connector, it's not there just for you to chop it off. It's there to protect you and your said device. So next time you run into an instance where you can't use the third prong, you don't chop off the prong. You upgrade the outlet to accept the ground. I mean, I know it's obviously, the easy way out is chopping that third prong off and going about your merry way, but is it safe? No. And in the case with this unit, it deems its surge protector useless. Isn't that great to know? So anyways, I just want to share my opinions about what this third prong is supposed to do. It's not there for you to chop it off. It's there for a reason. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Any questions or comments, feel free to ask, and thanks for watching.